Hi. So by now, if if you're listening to this, you'll be wondering why is there a teapot on my ninth blog. Well, if you read the description below, I'm going to talk in our lecture a number of weeks ago. Our lecturer John set as a task to do a blimage, which is to take any random picture and somehow define that to coaching. So, and then I was thinking for ages and ages and ages, what could I possibly find? What picture or what could I possibly use that could simplify coaching? What could I find that connection? So it came across me that I'm on a course that has a wide range of different coaches and different approaches. For me, for example, I coach a mainstream sport. I coach football, which is a very, very mainstream sport that has a lot of people who participate. Then on the flip side, we have people who coach netball, who coach ultimate frisbee, who coach hockey, basketball, cricket, rugby league, rugby union, you know it. So this is where they came up with the idea of the teapot, because everyone has a different preference of what their favourite hot drink is, or how do they make their favourite brew, which is the same as coaches. Every coach has a different philosophy. In my previous blog, my 8th blog, I talked about random and blocked and variable practice. In my opinion, I talked about how I like to get straight into random practice, and if I see something that needs to be worked on, like a certain technique or skill, I will stop the session. I'll stop what I initially planned and go into block practice. Then I'll add the variable, and if it works, then I'll go into random practice again to see if there's a success rate. I even found, to back myself up, I even found some literature. So, I've not read the article yet, but the article is an examination of different approaches for coaching adolescents. I don't know if this is the right. I don't know if you pronounce his name right, but Freya Coombe says that it's basically a comparison to a National Soccer Association, which is in the UK and the US, and it talks about different styles that coaches used in coaching adolescents. So it says that it was an observation showed that novices, so novice coaches or even coaches that haven't even been trained, haven't had any training, will coach adolescent kids, but in the session they could either use a way that they've come up with that feels like this is the right way of coaching, or they'll use someone's style that they admire. So even then, from the get-go, you can notice that a philosophy is so significant if they've seen someone who may say he might even be a local grassroots club manager. They've seen how they coach, they like their approach they're going to use, so they're going to go, right, first time ever coaching, I'm going to use that approach. Or they could see someone who watches the Premier League on a daily basis and they're a massive admirer of Jose Mourinho. They're like, right, I like his style of football. I've seen a few of his sessions on YouTube. I'm going to use his style today in coaching a passing session. Say, using passing but with a way of being attacking. So with the idea of wanting to score a goal. So not normal build-up passing with a purpose in a way. So this is why that's why I've kind of based the blimage on philosophy, because philosophy, once you start out being a coach, you don't really know what your philosophy is, because you're kind of trying to adjust yourself, trying to find your feet when you're being a coach. But as you start to get older and older, and you start to get your qualifications, and you start to do your volunteering, and you start to get your experience, this is when your style, your rhythm, and your routine kind of comes into place. Like, as I said, I'm a very hands-on coach, so I'm not afraid of getting stuck in, getting my hands dirty. And if I see something I don't like, I'm not going to go in all guns blazing and say, "Oh, stop there, everyone, stop." I'm not going to be like that kind of coach. If it's one or two in particular people who are struggling, I wouldn't just stop the session, because then it's going to harbour everyone else is learning. So I take them up to one side, and that's when you have to do the one-to-one interventions. That's when you have to kind of point them in the right direction, because if you just kind of stay there and try want them to get to suss out the problem themselves, it could take a whole session, and then they could feel disappointed and feel like they've not learned anything. So you gotta find that right balance when you have to step in and say something. So that's where I kind of have that balance between being a hands-on coach and wanting the session to flow. I'm all about success rate. Even if after every session I get all my players in a line, in a single file line, and I ask them what they've learned. Because if none of them have learned anything, if one or two haven't learned anything, I feel like I've failed as a coach in that session, because it's all good and well coaching. It's all good and well. 9 out of 11 coaches, 9 out of 11 kids have learned something. But if 2 haven't learned, then what does that say to me as a coach, and how are then parents going to feel about my coaching style? So then it's up to me to try, not just to put all my attention into them 2 people, but maybe in a way to adapt my philosophy, or to adapt my session in a way that everyone is learning, because that's the whole point of coaching. Everyone learns something, and everyone has to take everything from a session. And that is the whole point of coaching. Every philosophy, everyone has a different philosophy. In terms of a match, in terms of coaching a team on a match day, I'm all about quick passing football, getting the ball down, getting stuck in, and being expressive. I can't stand it when managers restrict players from being able to try new skills, or scared of them making a mistake in case they may concede a goal. It's all about a learning curve. You have to learn from mistakes. If you've never tasted defeat before, you're never going to grow as a person. Never mind a footballer, or grow as a coach. So you could take this on board. If you've got any questions, if you want to message me, feel free to. See you later.